Let's watch some conspiracy theories.
Missing Japanese citizens. One night in June 1978, a 22-year-old single mother of 2 kids named Yaiko Taguchi was working her usual shift in Tokyo, Japan's cabaret Hollywood. After finishing her shift right at around midnight, Yaiko left the cabaret through the front door.
Something bad happened. I'm not making fun of the name. Something bad happened to her. I'm already feeling, so I'm just not gonna go there.
And was never seen again. At first, nobody thought that anything serious had happened to Yaiko. In fact, several years later, her manager was questioned, and he claims that everyone thought she had quit when she failed to show up. At around that time, there had been rumors going around that several North Korean spies were working undercover in Japan looking to abduct innocent citizens and hold them as hostages back in North Korea. However, this was seen by the Japanese government as nothing more than a conspiracy theory that couldn't possibly be true. Sadly, the missing case of Yaiko went cold, and it wasn't until almost a decade later that a clue to her whereabouts emerged following a disturbing chain of events. In November 1987, as South Korea was preparing to host the Olympics in the capital city of Seoul, a Korean Airlines plane blew up in mid-air as it was flying over the Andaman Sea, taking the lives of
mid-air?
115 innocent people.
Holy shit! R.I.P. those people. That is the craziest shit ever. Bro, you just flying and that shit just blows up? Hell no. What the fuck?
During the investigation, it was revealed that 2 North Korean agents acting under direct orders from the North Korean government had planted a bomb in an overhead storage compartment before getting off at the first layover in Abu Dhabi. As the authorities were closing in on the 2 suspects, one of them took his life with a cyanide-laced cigarette, but the South Korean government was able to arrest the other agent responsible for the attack.
Jesus.
During her interrogation, it was revealed that she had been training for that mission for 6 years, and that for 3 of them she had been paired with Yaiko Taguchi, who had taught her how to speak and act like a Japanese woman so she could fly under the radar. As it was later revealed, Yaiko wasn't the only woman who had been kidnapped by the North Korean government. As of today, 17 Japanese citizens have been officially confirmed by the Japanese government as having been abducted by North Korea from
Officially confirmed, so there's more. You just don't know. They haven't made the connection.
1977 to 1983. Disturbingly, a lot of them were shamelessly kidnapped in the middle of the day and thrown on a boat to North Korea. You might think that the victims were involved in something shady that put them on the North Korean government's radar, but the investigations actually suggest that most of them were average citizens who just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Bro, that's wicked. You're just walking around, just chilling. You just get kidnapped by a government, bro. And then you gotta, for however long, you're just working for their government now? That's fucked. That's
One woman was captured while she was
wicked,
walking
bro.
to a knitting class, and 2 others were kidnapped on a vacation to Europe. Another one, a 13-year-old girl,
On
was taken as she
vacation,
was walking
bro.
back home from school. Some of these victims were kidnapped for identity theft purposes, while others, like Yaiko, were forcefully brought to North Korea to teach the Japanese language and culture to North Korean spies. After the kidnappings were confirmed beyond the shadow of a doubt, the North Korean government had no choice but to come forward and apologize, but they claimed that only 5 of the 17 kidnapping victims were still alive. Over the next few years, the North Korean government would send what they would claim to be the cremated remains of some of the deceased victims back to Japan. However, as DNA testing would quickly reveal, pretty much all of the remains were fake, leading the Japanese government to believe that many more of the kidnapping victims were still alive. To this day, the North Korean government has stuck to its story, claiming that there are only 13 kidnapping victims and that the ones who are still alive were sent back safely to Japan. Shockingly, while the Japanese government has officially confirmed 17 kidnappings, the list of potential victims suggests that the true number could be as high as 800. Sadly, given the current political situation, it's unlikely we'll ever see the full extent of these abductions, or see the North Korean government held truly accountable for its horrific crimes.
Nah, bro, I was expecting like 30. Bro, 800 people.
Just the other day, I found myself wasting hours of time.
It's an ad.
Like attempts on both foreign and American politics. Heart attack gun. Back in the 70s, a journalist named Seymour Hersh published an article in the New York Times in which he accused the CIA of several assassination attempts on both foreign and American politicians who they considered to be anti-war dissidents. Due to these allegations, the US Senate put the CIA under investigation for alleged covert action abuses, which resulted in the release of 14 reports on major abuses committed by the CIA, FBI, and NSA. The majority of the reports included accusations of crimes such as opening and resealing US citizens.
A heart attack gun? Bro, you think they control the weather? Y'all think the government controls our weather? I swear to God, I seen shit where like in like the 80s they were making clouds and shit. So they gotta have some type of weather control by now. A heart attack gun? How old is this?
Private mail for several years and illegally surveilling Black Power activists.
Okay, it's gotta be old.
Although these claims are obviously pretty serious, they pale
Black and white pictures, news.
in comparison to one particular
Papers.
accusation or conspiracy theory, which
1973.
alleged that the CIA had developed a pistol that could fire a poison dart over 300 feet, take a person's life, and leave absolutely no trace as to the cause of death. As it was later revealed, this theory turned out to be true, and the development of the poison dart gun was just one part of the program called MK Naomi, through which the CIA had sought to develop weapons for biological warfare. In 1975, William Colby, the CIA director at the time, had to testify in front of the committee that was investigating the agency. During questioning, he claimed that the CIA had developed a host of biological weapons as part of a plan to eliminate German leaders during World War II, but that their research had continued until well after the war. He also mentioned that the poison dart gun was almost completely silent on account of the battery that was housed inside the handle, and that it had been specifically designed for the target to feel nothing more than a mosquito bite when the dart struck. Interestingly, the agency had used a specific shellfish toxin to make it impossible for anyone to know what the cause of death was, leading forensic pathologists to believe that the victim had suffered an inexplicable heart attack. It wouldn't help pathologists that the dart was designed to melt inside the body so that it only left a small red mark where it entered the victim. When asked if the heart attack gun, as it was nicknamed, was ever used on anyone, the director alleged that it had only been used for experiments and that there were no records of actual use.
Cap. There was no records of actual use. Well, they can't detect it, so it's undetectable. What are you talking about? Cap.
As part of the investigation, the CIA had to hand over the gun to the committee, and there are some pretty wild pictures of the committee members analyzing the gun as William Colby answers their questions about it. Normally, you'd expect to see something like the heart attack gun in a spy movie, and it's pretty wild to think that if they hadn't put it under investigation, they would have probably gotten away with using it for who knows what purposes. It's also pretty crazy to think that if that's the kind of stuff they were developing back in the 70s, imagine the kind of technology they have their hands on now.
That's what I'm saying.
Disturbingly, the hearing was the only time the heart attack gun was ever shown publicly, and to this day, it remains unclear what happened to it after the investigation.
Type. Let's type it in. I want to know about that shit. See, this says 1945. They would intercept and read the mail of American citizens in the Cold War. And they would dose unwitting, non-voluntary human subjects with LSD. This the CIA doing this to us. We know about the secret efforts because the Congress investigated the agency as well as the FBI. The Congress investigated. Oh, wow. Became known as the Church Committee. First, a whistleblower revealed the army was spying on American citizens at home. That's why I turned when I turned stream off. the webcam gets turned around because I know motherfuckers can get into that shit and watch me. And I'm not trying to have somebody watch me beat my meat back there, cuh. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. I'm trying to beat my meat in peace back here. Fuck. No lotion. Straight raw. Do you see a lotion bottle in here? No. That should be. Alright, my fault. And shellfish. Once distracted, the potent neurotoxin could be frozen and fired from a pistol, killing its victim and would appear to be a heart attack. Yeah, but what happened after? Type shit. MK Naomi. Stockpiling severely incapacitating and lethal materials for specific use of Technical Services Division. The agency source for the specialized devices used in their spy operations. There's actual spy. It just blows my mind that there's spies, like real life spies. Your whole life you just motherfucking a fake person. That shit low-key kind of cool, James Bond type shit. They already had a similar poison weapon. Bro, what kind of shit do they be keeping from us, fam? Hey, World of Warships.
Rogue waves. Sailors often get a reputation for making up stuff they claim to have seen during their time out at sea, and because there's no one there to refute their claims, they sometimes get away with some pretty tall tales. For centuries, sailors all around the world had talked about seeing monster waves on the open sea that would allegedly reach over 100 feet in height. In 1826, a French captain claimed that he had seen a 108-foot.
Bro, if you play Assassin's Creed Black Flag, you know you just gotta go straight at that motherfucking rogue wave, bro. You just gotta go straight at that motherfucker and you're Gucci, bro. The boat just goes over it, you know?
Tall wave.
Bro, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I had my fucking all gold ship, bitch. My ship was all gold. If you know, you know, bro. That was the best Assassin's Creed game. It just downhill after Black Flag, fam. Black Flag was the best game ever.
Wave in the Indian Ocean. Even though he had 3 sailors with him who backed up his claims, when he came back to the mainland, he was publicly ridiculed by the scientific community, as it was widely believed that it was impossible for a wave to be higher than 30 feet tall. For a long while after that, dozens of people continued to claim sightings of these monstrous waves in the middle of the ocean, but with no real evidence other than eyewitness testimonies, the existence of these waves fell into the urban legend or conspiracy theory category. In the 80s and early 90s, the Draupner platform was set up in the North Sea off the coast of Norway to extract natural gas. As part of the protocol that was carried out to see if the platform was stable enough to withstand the rough seas, a wave height recorder was installed on the platform. On New Year's Day in 1995, the sensor recorded an 84-foot tall wave, which served as the first real piece of evidence for the existence of rogue waves. After this incident, a lot of people started wondering how many of the sailors from previous centuries had been telling the truth. What's more disturbing than that is that there were probably hundreds of disappeared sailors from all around the world who had come across a rogue wave.
Yeah, and imagine, like I said, like being on a wood boat back in the day as a true sailor, not these modern boats, but fucking, and you see an 80-foot wave coming at you, bro. You're cooked, you're fried, you're done. You're sizzling in the pot, bro. You're done for. You're literally done. The woods coming apart. Better fuck it. That shit would be the scariest shit ever. Interstellar wave, cuh. How big is what they said, 84 foot? 84 foot wave. Like, okay. Largest surfed wave? That's not what I asked. Can I get like a size comparison? That's a Maverick or whatever. Pringles. Um, what's a good size comparison for 84 feet? I don't know how big. Eiffel. Sure. I don't even know how to spell Eiffel. How big is the I? There we go. I don't gotta spell it. See. Okay. Okay. So it's like that big. It's like base, you know. It's still scary as hell, right? It's like okay, 200 feet right there. It's like half that. It's like this big. See a wave that big coming at you. I'm running. How big do I want to see a tsunami? Biggest tsunami ever recorded. Yeah. See, that shit's crazy. No. 1,000 feet, bro. Now make it bigger, bro. If you see that shit, a wave bigger than the Empire State Building, bro. And it's taking out half the Burj Khalifa. A wave that big. I'm crying. I'm never going to Latuya Bay. I'm never going there. No, thank you. No fucking thank you. Rock slide through 30 million cubic meters into the bay from a height of around 914. When the rocks were thrown down to the water mass, they displaced a massive volume of water. Higher than any other tsunami. It was large enough to clear trees at a reported altitude of 524 and wiped out virtually all vegetation from elevations of 500 meters or lower, uprooting millions of trees. It was still the largest wave known to man. Dude. Fucking Latuya Bay, fam. Bro. That shit wicked.
Is a monster wave or a freak wave. But because most people who encountered 100-foot tall rogue waves generally didn't live to tell the tale, their testimony went down into the depths of the ocean with them. Since the Dropner wave of 1995, there's been a growing interest in rogue waves brewing in the scientific community. A few years ago, a professor at the Australian National University had estimated that at any given moment there are 10 rogue waves active in the world's oceans. As of today, a rogue wave is usually defined as a wave that is twice as large
watching
as
this
the
video,
largest waves that
there's 10 of them 80-foot, 90-foot motherfuckers going on.
come up in a particular area. And while the root cause of rogue waves continues to be investigated, it's generally accepted that these monster waves appear when two wave crests join together at the exact right time, resulting in a massive wave that can sink even the largest ships and oil rigs. Interestingly, it's also been discovered that rogue waves can take place in large lakes. In 1975, a freighter named the SS Edmund Fitzgerald sank in Lake Superior under some pretty mysterious circumstances, with a lot of people in the scientific community coming up with all kinds of hypotheses to explain the incident. It wasn't until several years later that the scientists started theorizing that the vessel could have fallen prey to a set of 3 consecutive killer rogue waves. A phenomenon referred to as the Three Sisters, in which the first wave destabilizes the ship, the second wave hits the ship's deck before it can stabilize again, and the third wave overloads the ship with more water than it can take on. If this were true, it could also provide an explanation for the mysterious sinking of other large ships in oceans around the world over the past few centuries, but this might be a bit more difficult to prove.
Okay, I'm never getting on a boat again, thank you.
Poisonous alcohol. In January 1920, the 18th...
I already know about this one. The government wanted to, What they do? They poisoned alcohol to stop people from drinking it after it was banned. I already know this
Alcohol
one.
to make it undrinkable since
Yeah.
1906, which was far before
They
Prohibition.
killed a lot of people.
But when the crackdown on alcohol started, the government ordered these companies to add quinine, methyl alcohol, and other toxic chemicals to